immigration. Both couples need to work together. Guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Ify, and thanks to all my amazing subscribers. Thanks to everybody that has been liking, commenting, and sharing all my videos. I truly appreciate you guys, and you guys are the one making YouTube algorithm to push my video out there. Thank you guys. I so much appreciate you guys. Guys, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the news that is coming up. We all know that IRCC, or Mark Miller, the Minister for Immigration, has been on back-to-back policy changes, especially with the international students and those people that are foreign workers. He's reducing the number of temporary residents generally in Canada. So temporary resident is made up of international students, foreign workers, and people that came with visiting visa. So he's been cracking down those numbers because he believes that they are much in Canada, and he's cracking them down. So all the policy changes that have been going on has been affecting international students. But guys, this news is for those people that plan to immigrate. By immigrate, I mean people that are coming in as a permanent resident. What I'm about to tell you guys is the news that I read recently, that Mark Miller is also targeting to reduce the annual target for people that are coming in as a permanent resident. This is the news, guys. So what I'm about to tell you guys, please take it seriously, especially if you know you qualify. This is not the time you just fold hands and relax and do nothing about it. One thing with this Canada immigration, when a policy favors you, please take advantage of it as soon as possible. Just take advantage of the policy before it changes, because once they are meeting up with their immigration target, they change policy. If they are if what they are looking for is getting filled up, they are changing policy. So if the policies are favoring you guys, please take advantage immediately. So guys, I'll be discussing the things you need to do to increase your chances to qualify to come in as a permanent resident. There are some people that are actually qualified to come in as a permanent resident, but because agents have sold to you guys that study route is the fastest way and all that, you people are not exploring the permanent resident route. And for you to know, if you are following me on TikTok, I've always said it, that study route is not an immigration pathway, guys. I mentioned that on my TikTok. That is what people don't know. It is not an immigration pathway. If you go to IRCC website and you click on their immigration and citizen, and you click on immigrate, there are lots of immigration pathways. Immigration means you're coming in as a permanent resident, and if you scroll down, there are lots of them, such as the caregiver route, the startup visa, the agri-food pilots, and so many pathways that can help you to come in as a permanent resident. They never mention study route. So all this protest that is going on, that students are now taking it, saying that it's compulsory for them to become a permanent resident because they studied here, it doesn't make sense. It will not even yield any result, because if you actually go to Canada website, they didn't promise students any permanent resident. You may qualify, but it is not a guarantee. That is where students are missing it. And so many people will just come to study, but they don't make enough research on how they can transition to become a permanent resident. Me, I'm not a promoter of you coming in as a student. I always say, if you must come to Canada, explore all the permanent resident routes. The only way you can come in as a student is if you are searching for points, or if you want to add more points. Like if you do PGD, it gives you 15 more points to your comprehensive ranking score, and if you decide to do masters, it adds 30 points to your comprehensive ranking scores. That is the only thing that school can do for you. However, I'll be discussing so many ways you can even increase your chances to come in as a permanent resident, even back home, without you coming to burn thousands of dollars to come and study here in Canada. To me, it's not really worth it when you can actually do those things at home. Another reason that people try to go through school is the excuse of they won't write IELTS. My brothers, my sisters, if you want to transition to become a permanent resident eventually, if you're coming through school, you must definitely write IELTS. Whether you are coming in from the United States, or you are coming in from the UK, or you are coming from Nigeria, IELTS is a compulsory requirement, which is the language test exams. So please, if it's because of IELTS, to avoid IELTS, that is what is making you to come through the study route, just have it at the back of your mind that you will still write that IELTS. It is compulsory. So guys, watch till the end of this video. I will be telling you guys the strategies you can use to increase your chances of coming in as a permanent resident, and I will also play the video that Mac Miller was saying that he needs to reduce the number of permanent residents that are coming in into the country as well. To him, he said the labor shortages are getting filled up, so they are being more strategic and all that. So, but I will leave at the end of the video. I'm going to leave a news where Mac Miller was saying all that. So guys, watch to the end. First of all, you are lucky if your occupation falls under the health sector, STEM, agric, what's it called, transportation and construction. These are the 5 category based draw that has been happening. So if your sectors fall under these 5 categories, you are very lucky. Why I said you are lucky is that their comprehensive ranking score, all the people that they've been sending invitation to apply, their comprehensive ranking score is usually lower than the normal general draw. That is why I said you are lucky. So even when you have like 460 something, 470 something, 450 something, depending on the category you are in, you might be invited to apply. So if you know you fall under these categories, please guys, rush and create your express entry profile. Go and create your express entry profile. Don't say my work experience is not up to 3 years. No, if your work experience back home is already 1 year, you can use it to create an express entry profile. You have a high tendency for even provinces to nominate you, because this category is not just the provincial nomination or the federal nomination. No, provinces can also nominate you, because provinces are also seeking for this category set of people. So once province nominates you, you will get 600 points. But if you don't create an express entry profile, how will they see you? Majority of the province always pick people from the pool. So don't wait for when you get to 3 years for you to apply. No, once you get a minimum experience of 1 year, maybe you just came out from school, you finish your NYSC, even your NYSC can serve, or you work for a period of 1 year, please go and write that IELTS and create your express entry profile. Even though your score is 300 plus, you have a high chance for province to nominate you and it to add 600 points. 600 plus 300, isn't that 900 plus? You are guaranteed that you have an invitation to apply. Go and do it now before this category based draw will get filled up. Then guys, another thing you need to do, if you are a married couple, create a separate profile. Your husband will have a separate profile, especially if your husband's occupation too is one of the high in demand occupation. Let him create a separate profile with another email. The wife create a separate profile with another email, because you never can tell which of the profile will get a provincial nomination. That is why it is very important. If you are a married couple, create a separate profiles. Write your IELTS separately. Don't rely only on your partner's IELTS. No, both of you need to write your IELTS, because if you rely only on your partner's IELTS or your partner's education, the comprehensive ranking score will go down. There are some couples that they say the husband is not chance to do the IELTS and all that. Please, in this Canada immigration, both couples need to work together, except you are single. You know that nobody is reducing your points. If you are single, your point is not dragged down. But if you are married okay, as a couple, and you are leaving all the workload on your spouse, your own profile will drag down the comprehensive ranking score if you did not write IELTS or evaluate your credentials, your educational credentials. It will drag down the score massively. So for you to increase the score as a couple, you both, it's recommended that you both write your IELTS or TEF Canada if you speak French, and then evaluate your credentials, so that you create a separate profile. He will also create a separate profile, and then at least the comprehensive ranking score will also be high. Don't leave all the workload to one partner. It doesn't make sense. Then another thing is, if you discover that your occupation does not fall in any of the categories based draw, please guys, learn French. Learn French. French is the game changer. There are so many pathways for French. They have francophone immigration. Like if you speak French, you will get an invitation to apply if you meet up with the comprehensive ranking score, which is usually very low as well. Secondly, if you are in the pool, there are provinces that can nominate you as a French speaker, such as the Ontario French speaking program. Ontario can easily nominate you as a French speaker. So explore the French category as well, especially if your occupation does not fall on the in-demand category based draw. And we can't solely rely on the other type of draw, which is the general draw. I can't even remember the last time they did that draw. It's like months back, which is the Federal Skilled Workers Program. It's months back. So the only way that your occupation is not in high demand is through the French category. Because if you keep waiting for the general draw, God knows when it will happen. And if it eventually happens, the comprehensive ranking score is usually high. I think the last time was 520 something, which is so difficult to meet up. Even if you don't write French, you can't meet up. But if you write French, you'll be able to meet up with that score, and you also qualify for the French speaking draw, because they have the French, and provinces can also nominate you. Okay, so you are using two stones to kill a bird. If your occupation is not in high demand, either you write French. French will help to boost your comprehensive ranking score to above 500, depending on your educational background and some other factors. It will boost you to 500 plus, and you also have the high chance for province to nominate you under the French category. So take advantage of the French category draw as well. Go and learn French, because these things, a time will come, French speakers, they might not really need them again. Because right now they are needing French, because the number of English speakers are more than the French speakers. But if they see that the French is not aligning with the English speakers, they might scrap out the French draw or the French category draw. So they are just inviting French speakers because they know that they need them, and that's why they added additional point for bilingual, meaning you can speak English and you can speak French, so you have advantage. So learn French so that you can qualify for both the category based draw, and you can also use it to increase your comprehensive ranking score. And another advantage of learning French is, if you eventually come here, my brother, my sister, your salary is more than people that, like, your salary in same category of people that are working with you will be higher, because you are a bilingual. They don't use them to play. Then another way you can increase your chances for invitation to apply to come in as a permanent resident is by exploring the Provincial nominee program. Go to all provinces, their websites. Go and check which program you are qualified for. Once you are qualified for any of the program, then strategize yourself to it, because once a province nominates you, you get additional 600 points. So this is especially good for those people that their age is like above 40. If you're already above 40 and if you are already above 40, go and research on provinces, which one the one you qualify for, and explore that route. If you write your IELTS and with your educational background, maybe your score is 300 plus, When a province nominates you, you automatically get 600 additional points, which will qualify you to get an invitation to apply to come in as a permanent resident. So if you are not in category based draw, you don't want to write French, go and explore the provincial nominee program. Check for provinces that you qualify to apply, and please apply. Take advantage of that. But if you don't qualify in any of them, you are not in category based draw, and provinces can't nominate you, my brother, my sister, the only alternative right now you need to do is to write French. Take action immediately. Stop postponing. Take action immediately. Then guys, another thing that you can do to increase your comprehensive ranking score in order to get an invitation to apply is to go back to school. That is an alternative. Okay, if you have only BSc, the point for BSc is lower than when you have 2 or more certifications. If you have masters, the point for masters is higher than when you have 2 or more certifications. But know that before you try to go back to school, can use the comprehensive ranking score to know what your score will be. Do you want to go do the PGD or you want to do masters? Take for example me, I have to go back to school. I did not do masters, I have to do PGD because of my age. I calculated my comprehensive ranking score and I said that if I should do masters, it will help me to lose points, meaning like the time I will graduate, I must have celebrated my 2 birthdays, which will also make me to lose points. So what I did was to learn French. While I was learning French, I was also doing the PGD program in National Open University. It's an online program. You can also do that. Okay, this thing, it takes the will. If you have that will, go and carry on. Don't say I'm tired, this Canada immigration is stressful. It is stressful. It was stressful for me, but at the end I'm not feeling the stress anymore. At that initial stage, honestly speaking, is to be stressful, but you require patience and the zeal and will to pull through in this Canada immigration. Do not give up, especially when you are seeing it. You calculated your comprehensive ranking score, so you've used it to calculate, and you see that your score, there is a tendency for you to have a high score. Why are you being lazy? Push yourself, go an extra mile. It is not easy, but at the end, my brothers and sisters, it is worth it. It is worth it. If it means you going back to school, go back to school. If it means you go and learn French, go and learn French. Explore the routes, explore the different options that you can use to increase your comprehensive ranking score. Go and do PGD or go and do master's program. They can do it online. National Open University, that's what I used. You do online while you're trying to study for your IELTS and also studying for your French. It is possible. It is very possible if you put your mind to it. And the earlier you start, the better, because they keep reducing the number of people that they want. Mark Miller has already said, I'm going to play the news at the end of this video. He has said that he will be making an announcement by November to reduce the target for permanent residents as well. So this target thing is not only affecting the international students, but at least we always have annual target for permanent residents, but from the past trend, the annual target is always increasing. They were supposed to invite 500,000 people by 2025, but the way the news is, they might reduce that target. It might not be up to 500,000 again. That announcement was during Sean Fraser, the former minister for immigration. He said he will welcome 500,000, but Mark Miller, who is the recent immigration minister, is saying that he needs to cut down the annual target for permanent residents. You can see that everything is becoming more difficult. So the more you delay, the more the chances of coming in will be reducing. That is why when you know you are qualified for something, act fast and don't have only one backup plan. Have plan A, B, C. In case this one is not favoring you, please, it will favor the next policy will favor you. Go and read up my story. I have different plans before I eventually came in as a permanent resident. Go and read up the story. Maybe my story can motivate you. It was never easy, guys, but at the end you will forget about the whole stress when you eventually land. I will leave you guys now to see the whole news. about what Macmillan is saying and tell me what you think in the comment section. Guys, thank you so much for all the likes, comment. Please give this video a thumbs up so that YouTube can push it. I beg, just give it a thumbs up. Put your thoughts in the comment section. Help me to share and then subscribe. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you all. See you in my next video.
In the broader picture of immigration levels, today I thought it was very interesting that the Prime Minister did not close the door to changes to the permanent stream, right? And that is something that under your government has been a very specific policy measure. We're now at about 500,000 going to be. And the last time we spoke to you about this issue, you said it would stay, the latest plan showed that level staying there for the next 2 years. Can you expand on what kind of things your government is considering? Are you considering, very bluntly, a reduction in permanent immigration?
Well, we're looking at a number of options. When I paused the levels last year, it was with an undertaking to talk to Canadians and see what those levels look like or should be. There has been significant growth, I think for good reason, in the last few years. That economic growth, again, has been indispensable in making sure that the gross domestic product of the country is grown, that the entrance into the workforce, all driven by immigration, was assured. But now it's time to take a look at them and put real options on the table for the Prime Minister and for other cabinet ministers to look at, and not cosmetic changes simply to deal with public opinion. Real significant change to make sure that we have an immigration level.
What does that mean? What does significant change?
You'll see when we announce the levels. It's not something I would announce publicly, particularly without having had that discussed in cabinet. It has not had the full, robust cabinet discussion that is due to it, and I expect to hear from my cabinet colleagues who are sometimes of different positions and views as to what the immigration levels of the country look like. So when I say all options are on the table, there will be considerations about whether we reduce, what type of immigration that we are supporting. 60% of our immigration is economically driven. That is probably unprecedented with countries that we compare ourselves to. But we have to see if we've done this in the right way, and if that growth merits to continue, needs to be paused or even reduced.
Why is that the conversation happening right now? And I ask with respect specifically to permanent, because every interview I've conducted with you or the housing minister over the last year, you have been very insistent that what was driving the ills associated with immigration was on the temporary side of things. And I even remember in January asking you this question about the permanent stream, and you said like questions in that, you were kind of hearing a lot of questions in that area, and some of them had undertones of racism. Like that is the way that your government pushed back against questions about permanent residency. And now at one of the most politically vulnerable times for your party, you're willing to look at cutting those numbers. Is that why? Well,
no, look, I'm not going to presume that racism doesn't exist, but there are legitimate views within Canadian society of people I would never think of calling racist.
Could your government have been more entertaining to those views previously?
Well, I think we should always be open to these points of views. The conversations that I have, for example, around the Easter table, Christmas table, they're different views. Some people have a different view on immigration than I do. This is a country that has largely benefited and built an amazing consensus around immigration. But again, we're hearing from different parts of Canada, different even people in my own family that have different views on immigration. I think we owe it as a responsible government to listen to them, even if we don't.
Did you not owe it a year ago or a year and a half ago when those levels were hitting 450,000, 500,000?
Well, they haven't hit 500,000. This year we will be at 485. There has been some aggressive growth, I think with good reason, and those people are productive members of the economy, productive members of society. But I think as a responsible country in the current context that we're facing, we have to look at those levels and say, do we continue along those lines? Or do we look at it and say, where can we best rationalize things? Where can we have a sustainable level within the levels that we see with the other countries of the OECD? And have a conversation that's devoid of racism, but also reflective of what different people are thinking. Both people from diasporas that we brought in, but also Canadians that have been here perhaps a little longer. And I think that is that's what Canadians expect to hear.
And when's that decision coming? Will that be in the report coming this fall? Like you'll put out another plan?
So when I announced every year we announce the levels and I deposit a report in front of Parliament, what I've done this year, contrary to other years, is to fold in the temporary levels, which often does get confused with the permanent levels, and often we get criticized for not integrating the temporary levels, which have jumped in the past year. And I think one of the reasons we focus...
Past 2 years.
One of the reasons that we focus so heavily on temporary migration is because of the significant jumps that we've seen in the student cohorts, in the postgraduate work permit cohorts, and saying that certainly needs to get it under control. It's been overheated, but we're not excluding other areas as well.
Do you take responsibility for overseeing the system just final question that did get overheated. I mean, the permanent levels you set, the temporary levels you did not impose a cap on until this year.
Well, I think every minister needs to take responsibility for the files they're in. They also need to take the responsibility to make the same choices and not remain dogmatic to any particular view in society. And I think that's the responsibility I have. And in the next year, I think Canadians expect us to continue to take aggressive action where they think it makes sense for the economy and their lives.
I'm going to leave it on that note. Minister, I appreciate your time today very much. Thank you. Thanks a lot.